Before we dive in, let's look at some statements people generally make in different situations. I'm sorry, they were not my words, it was my anger that spoke. I didn't mean to hurt you, it just happened in the flow of my anger. I feel ashamed that I use such language in anger. Don't mess with me, I'm a beast when I'm angry. We use anger to play the blame game by blaming anger as if it is not a part of us. We use it as an excuse to convince the other person. Anger often becomes the reason for our repentance. Some people who are proud of their anger also use it as an expression of their power to warn or scare others. Well, it doesn't need any great genius to understand why we get angry. Possibility 1, we expect something but something else happens. Possibility 2, we are accustomed to some comfort or luxury, but sometimes discomfort comes on the way. Possibility 3, we want others to accept, follow, obey, or listen to us, and they don't. Possibility 4, we face injustice, cheating, or negligence by others, and we are so helpless about fighting or correcting it. Without realizing that anger is one of the most powerful and useful emotions, we insult it by expressing it in a cheap or mediocre ways. We raise our voice, sometimes hands too. Some people's language falls below the decency line. We hurt people, we damage things and relationships, sometimes beyond repair. In extreme cases, anger kills others. If we are not sensitive enough, we continue to justify our anger, blaming someone or something else as a reason for it. Most of the time, our anger ends up in guilt or sadness. Just because we have decided that anger is a problem, we hear many techniques to control or manage anger. The most popular one is counting numbers, not just in forward order but counting down. Some people suggest reciting multiplication table of 19 when you are in angry state, which many of us cannot do even when we are in the normal state. Some people suggest meditation as a long-term solution. Some suggest eating vegetarian food with an illogical analogy that herbivores like cows and deer are known for their calm and composed attitude, and carnivores like tigers and lions being cruel and aggressive. What a logic. If you go to a numerologist to seek solution for your anger, he may ask you to change the spelling of your name. I'm not sure if that reduces your anger, but the person reading your name may go mad and get angry by reading unusual spelling of your name, thereby creating another customer to the numerologist. Keeping all these short-term and long-term solutions to manage anger aside, there is another way to look at anger. That is, not looking at anger as a problem but as your strength. I classify anger in 3 stages. The first stage is the damaging state. This is the immediate time after you come across something undesirable. The time you come to know that you expected something but something else happened. The time when someone disagreed to you. A father expected his son to secure first class marks, but he checks the result online and finds out that the boy has failed in a subject. The boss expected his subordinate to finish a task by noon, but when checked, it's just half done at that time. A newly bought car is hit at its back on the very first day by a careless auto driver, causing a dent. A gang of idiots have destroyed a tea stall during a strike, which was the livelihood for a poor person. It is in this damage stage that most of the disasters happen. People destroy things, damage relationships, and sometimes take lives of others. The second stage is the thinking stage. It's in this stage the anger puts man to think. He repents for his actions. He feels sad and guilty. The third stage is the forgetting stage. Eventually, the anger and its outcomes are forgotten by man here. The man comes back to normalcy until he encounters any other situation that makes him angry. If we carefully observe, above are the three stages that happen mostly normally. If they happen in this way, anger is a problem and should be treated as a defect in our personality. The question is, can we make some changes to these three stages and convert anger into our strength? The greatest challenge is postponing the first stage. When we know the damages happen in the first stage, we should understand that we can move forward without harming or hurting people, things, or relationships. Do you want to do it by counting down numbers, by superhuman process of reciting multiplication table of 19, by just sitting somewhere secluding yourself? Your choice. If we just stop at controlling that anger, it just becomes a solution. How does it become your strength? Well, now it's time to look at the second stage differently, thinking stage. If we can skip the first stage, that is damage stage, there comes no question of guilt and sadness. So, the time allotted for thinking stage is free. By now, strange chemicals like catecholamines, adrenaline, and noradrenaline also slow down their flow so that we can think logically. Let's analyze if the anger is because of our mistake or if it is because others did some cheating or injustice. If it is your mistake, correction is the wisest action. If it is because of others' mistake, you need to get more creative and plan well to correct others or just to move away from them. Raising voice, raising hand, no. Remove them from your list of options. If you do exactly what they do, it becomes just a plain revenge, and that shows no difference between you and the other person. And there is no creativity needed in doing what others did with you. That's when creativity in your words, your writing, your actions should come into the picture. Even to express your anger creatively, ask if the person or situation truly deserve spending your creativity. If you think being or going away helps, do it instead of wasting your noble emotion called anger. Third stage is the dead stage. If you wait for a long time after an incident happens, the anger dies. You will then become a passive tolerant of the situation. That's just impotency. If you keep accepting all the injustice, negligence, cheating without responding to it creatively, your anger doesn't become your strength. It just dies. Don't let that happen. Most of the great creations, inventions, discoveries, and achievements that happened in this world are not because people accepted and smiled even after they met injustice or insults. It's because they handled anger carefully and creatively without letting their anger die just a useless death. Handling anger is like handling iron. Do not respond to it at the early hot molten state. It may destroy you and damage others. Let it cool down. On the other hand, do not let it cool down completely until it gets solidified. You cannot make it into your desired shape. It's useless. Choose a stage between the molten and the solidified stage and mold it as you wish in its semi-solid, semi-liquid state. Not getting angry is not our strength. Controlling anger and letting it die inside us over a period of time is also not our strength. Showing the right channel to your anger at the right time is the true strength. Get angry creatively.